Greetings, Duelists, and welcome to another video. So, for those who haven't seen it yet, I did make a ban list prediction video a few days ago, and firstly, I want to thank everybody who replied. It was very well received. I even had really big compliments on it. In that video, I did mention what I thought the 4 best decks were in the format, and by the time I did this video, YCS Montreal was going around or was happening, and I expected a few specific decks to be doing well in Top Cut and even win the event. And my hunch was correct. I brought up that Cooltoon, Elfnote, Rollad Pile, and Branded were going to be amongst the top contending decks, and that's exactly what happened. However, there are little bit of nuances here and there. Branded faded off extremely hard, and it's no surprise why that happened. Branded has a really bad Rollad matchup, and Rollad just being really popular just makes it unfavorable for Branded, especially since some Rollad variants are adapting Branded cards. You can see here from the top 8 that don't be fooled by this Mitsurugi name in here. There's only one pure Mitsurugi that made it on Top Cut. The other Mitsurugi are actually Rollads. So in its entirety, you had 3 Rollads, 3 Cooltoons, and 2 Elfnotes in Top Cut, in top 8. Like, that kind of already sets the triangle format a little bit. And if we go back to this ban list prediction that I made here, I did make this ban list thinking about those decks, because if you do nothing about Elfnote, that deck is going to be really scary post Beyond the Brave. And to no surprise, that's what ended up winning the event. Shoutouts to Pancho, aka Bobadillo. I did met him in YCS Columbus. Really nice guy. For those who don't know, I am native Spanish. So is he. He is from Chile. So we had a really nice conversation when we met each other over there. He called me a really good deck innovator, which, you know, I'll take all that compliment. Yeah, he ended up winning the event with the Elfnote strategy. There are a little bit of nuances. The first thing I want to say is Elfnote is not better than Cooltoon. Cooltoon is still the better combo deck. However, Bobadillo did a really good meta call in his list that ended up winning him the event. He posted it on Twitter on day 1. And before we talk about that tech, I want to... Well, actually, let's talk about the tech right now. This is his list. And if you look at the list, the entire main deck is pretty much like a regular Elfnote list outside of like the Dogmatica Ecclesia, right? Dogmatica Ecclesia is like the only outlier in the deck. Everything else is pretty much standard. You can make the argument for Magnamut, but there are some Elfnote lists that are maining Bestials right now, just because they're level 6 monsters, and Magnamut just like changes your top deck against Cooltoon. It gets you to Harmonia, which is a really strong card. But the one card that gave Francisco a competitive edge in this event was Contact C. If you've been on this channel before, you know that I actually really like this card. I've talked about this card being a really good like sleeper tech in post WCQ events. Last year, this was played in Canada as well. For those who don't remember, I think Triff played it in Yummy to contest the Yummy Mirror match. So, yeah. And this is not something unfamiliar. Like, if we go to the Malaysian WCQ that happened on May, Him or Saikaito, fellow YouTuber, he made top 4 in Malaysian Nats with Malice, and he also teched Contact C. So this was a really good meta call from Francisco's part. There are a few other interesting techs, like the Stormbane Dragon. This is another one that I did not have on my radar. This one was very interesting, and indirectly it actually won him the game, like in his finals match. Like if we see right here, you see the Stormbane Dragon being summoned. Yeah, another really nice tech in his list. There's also Arcanine Magician. Shoutouts to Lust or Anthony Shu. I think he was the first person to adapt this in Elfnote. Really cool card. I do own a Spanish gold one, so if I were to play Elfnotes again, I probably will play it in that list. Ruddy Rose Dragon was another really good tech in this deck. I think this card is a staple in Elfnote. The main reason I say that is because this card is really strong against all the Rolat piles. Like, just summoning this and banishing their entire graveyard is a really big deal, because the Skull Archfiend of Chaos can only do so much, right? And if you banish the Skull Archfiend of Chaos alongside everything else, like, you're literally just destroying their follow-up. And destroying the follow-up in that deck is incredibly important. And with all the roll-up pile decks running around, this card is just a natural fit in that strategy. Something very, very interesting in this Elfnote list in particular is there's no Cyphering Lord Omega and there's no Hyper Librarian. Which kind of tells you, what should we actually do about Elfnote if we don't hit this deck on the preceding ban list? Because in my ban list discussion, I put Cyphering Lord Omega as like the Elfnote card to watch out for, but he didn't even play it on his list. I don't think Crystal Wing is worth hitting in the next Forbidden list. Now this begs the question, what should happen now, like after this event? Let's show a few other decks. For example, this is Cool Tune by Julian Kahan. Something I really like about Julian's decision is he did not play Dominus Purge. And not playing Dominus Purge meant that, like, he did not fall into the contingency traps of like playing or activating that card off sequence. No pun intended. I played Cool Tune with Purge. I've seen a lot of people at my locals play with Purge, and I've seen enough games to know that that card can lose you games if you're in an awkward spot where you have to activate the card. What Julian opted for instead was Delta and Gamma, which I don't think was a bad meta call at all. He also decided to play Talents in the main, which I don't see that card in the main in like most Cool Tune list to begin with. So yeah, only 2 sloths. I don't think it's incorrect to play 2. I think you should play more than 1. He cited all the, both Moch armies. A lot of people are citing Called by the Grave. They're not maining it anymore, which is a very interesting thought, to say the least. Now let's look at one other deck I want to show. This is Lucas Sacco pile deck. Again, shoutouts to Anthony Shu. He was the first one to adapt the Adventure engine in this deck and play it like as a pile of 60 cards. Lucas Sacco pretty much adapted from that strategy, like tweaked a few ratios here and there, but it's pretty much the same deck. And as you can see here, you see Quartet and Zena running around because this is an Azamina version. Yeah. Now, going back to what I was saying, what should happen to those decks? Because if we leave those decks untouched, they're just gonna get stronger. Like, in a few weeks, we're getting Magnificent Monsters. And I can tell you this right now, this set buffs all those archetypes. Elfnote, Rolat Pile, and Cool Tune will all become better decks with this set. Like, in Rolat's specific case, you have like the Contract Witch. Like, in Elfnote's case, you have Synchro Emergency. For Cool Tune, you also have Synchro Emergency as well. Rollout Piles will enjoy the new hero monster because it's another super poly target. So, yeah. The future is looking very, very scary after this YCS. Because I don't think that my prediction list was incorrect. But most cards that I put in here were cards that were not commonly played in the topping lists, right? Does this mean we still need a ban list? Does this mean we still need to do hits like this one? Does this mean that maybe those decks should be hit more? I actually think all those statements are correct. Because again, like, I cannot preface this enough. I actually think Elfnote is a few cards away from just outshining Cool Tune. Again, Cool Tune is still better than Elfnote. Elfnote won this specific event because of a really good meta call. But if this deck doesn't get hit on the next list while Cool Tune does, expect to see this deck becoming the best deck in the format. But until then, keep practicing and keep dueling.